我告诉你，我是不会让你们结婚的，不可能。
你出轨了，你还好意思在这里求复婚？
我没有出轨，我告诉你我是什么样的人，他可以说，但你没资格说，你知道吗？你凭什么说我？
资格了？
你怎么有资格了？你一个第三者，你有什么资格在说？
跟这种人没有什么可说的，走。
我什么种人？你把话给我说清楚，我什么人啊？我什么人？
我垃圾人！
你才垃圾人！你什么人啊？
The woman being called trash in the video is the ex-wife, Mrs. Lee. Just a few days earlier, she found out that her ex-husband was dating a woman even more beautiful than her, and that their wedding was already scheduled for the coming days. Of course, she couldn't accept that. But to understand the full story, we need to go back to the beginning. After all, she had always said she would never let her daughter live with him. The woman who was called trash in the video is the ex-wife, Mrs. Lee. It turns out that just a few days ago, she found out that her ex-husband had met a woman even more beautiful than her, and that their wedding was about to take place in the coming days. That was something she simply couldn't accept. But to understand it all, the story needs to be told from the beginning.
不可能把女儿给他，
不可能。
你凭什么不给我？
我凭什么要？
主持人是这样，我认为他
你觉
现在
得你能把
的状态
女儿带好吗？
你能听我说话吗？
女儿跟着你能好吗？
以他现在这个状态，不可能给欣欣一个好的生活，因为他现在要结婚了。他现在新女朋友，我根本不相信会有另外一个女人对我真心的对我女儿好，我是不相信的。我从来没听说过一个后妈会对自己女儿好。
那你错了，恰巧现在要跟我结婚的这个女孩对欣欣很好。
The man with glasses is Mr. Wang. The two had lived together for several years and had a daughter together. However, after they started living as a couple, Mr. Wang discovered that his wife not only had a bad temper but was also lazy and gluttonous, caring little about the household. Even when she had nothing to do, she wouldn't cook. Their daughter would come home from school to find no food and had to eat takeout every single day. I work all day, come home in the middle of the night, and when I'm not here, you just order delivery for Xin to eat, he complained angrily.
我天天工作忙，我回来晚上半夜回到家啊，我不在家，你给欣欣点外卖吃，外卖你
怎么办呀？
对小孩好啊。
那我从小到大我也不会做饭呀。
你给小孩做饭，
我们家有保姆，你怎么不给我找保姆啊？
找保姆？
那我不会做饭怪谁啊？
找保姆
上大都是这样的。
找保姆谁花钱啊？
你花钱啊？
好，两位，好。
你是一家之主，你肯定要花钱啊。
In Mrs. Lee's view, even though she had given birth, she still saw herself as a little princess. Cooking or doing household chores, to her, was a maid's job. Mr. Wang, as the husband and head of the family, was naturally supposed to be responsible for hiring and paying for such help. While he was killing himself working outside, his wife spent her days at home playing mahjong with a group of idle friends. You play mahjong every day. You only work 3 days a week and still have the nerve to talk about money. What kind of job is that, her? He complained. But she snapped back immediately. When we got married, you were the one who said I didn't have to work, that you'd take care of me. And now you come and talk to me like this. Oh, sure, Mrs. Lee, you've changed, that's what it is, he replied angrily. He's the one who said it. You heard it, right? He's the one who said I didn't have to work, she insisted, trying to justify herself.
他天天打流混是1个星期上3天班，你还有脸说你的钱你可以挣？
什么工作呀？
可是我们结婚的时候，他明明说你可以不上班，我养你啊，怎么现在就这样说了呢？
哎，好，林女士，
明明就是你变心了。
哎，好，林女士，
是他自己说的，你可以不用上班。
别着急，林女士，我问一下你什么工作？
我现在没有工作。
啊？
现在没有工作。
那结婚的时候呢？
结婚的时候也没有工作。
那什么3天打鱼2天晒网，那你没？
那你这3天出去干嘛去了？
你管我干嘛呢？我跟朋友打麻将怎么了？我挣点钱怎么了？那小钱也算钱啊。
Since the two got married, Mr. Wang had given his bank card to Mrs. Lee, believing she would use the money responsibly. But to his surprise, she never looked for a job. Instead, she spent every day playing cards and mahjong. However, that wasn't even what irritated him the most. Mr. Wang came from a humble rural family. His parents passed away when he was still very young. From then on, he grew up with his older brother, who, being very responsible, took on all the costs of his education up to college. Wang worked hard, completed his master's degree, and after graduating, built a successful career. Over time, he wanted to repay his brother's kindness, especially during holidays and family celebrations. But his ex-wife, lacking any empathy, deeply despised his brother and always showed disgust whenever he came to visit.
他现在他只要但凡是我要去看我哥和我嫂子，给他们带点东西，或者是给他们包点红包，他就怨声载道。
你那是带一点东西包一点红包吗？
这也是我要问的。
他能把家都搬过去好吗？
我把家搬过去了，你还说什么？说我哥我嫂子要靠我发家致富？
本来就是，你这么多年包过多少红包，还过吗？你拿过多少东西还过吗？他来我们家看过我吗？
总共加到一块不到2000块钱，这能让他家发家致富吗？
快不发家致富了。
In Mrs. Lee's mind, the man who had helped her husband was not a benefactor, he was just a parasite. She believed that Mr. Wang's brother was a leech, someone who lived off him. Mrs. Lee deeply despised her husband's brother, believing that this simple man from the countryside wasn't worthy of their status. He only embarrasses you, he ruins your image, she would say. Your brother is poor and ignorant. Every time he comes here, he arrives empty-handed, eats, drinks, leaves the house full of trash, and doesn't even help clean up. Why should I treat people like that well? What do I owe them? You owe them nothing. Since I was a child, I owe everything to my brother. He paid for my studies, raised me, took care of me until I graduated. If he's my benefactor, then he's yours too. We're a family, aren't we? Replied Mr. Wang. After the marriage, everything at home became his responsibility. Washing clothes, cooking, cleaning. Mr. Wang worked all day, exhausted, and still came home to take care of his wife, who spent her nights playing mahjong, and their young daughter, waking up at dawn to feed her. How many men would do that? He often vented. But Mrs. Lee mocked him. Funny, I asked for a maid and you refused to hire one. My father even offered to pay, and you still said no, all because of your ridiculous pride. And now you want to play the hero. The truth was that Mrs. Lee came from a city family, with some comfort and a higher social status. When Mr. Wang married her, he believed that being with a woman with an urban background would help him advance in life. But over time, the marriage revealed a completely different side of her, arrogant, spoiled, and unwilling to work. During all our time together, we bought a house, we bought a car, and I never once asked your parents for a single cent, he said. So tell me, what more do you want? What are you really after? The main reason Mr. Wang refused to give custody of their daughter to his ex-wife was obvious. All those years, she never worked, never acted like a real mother, and during the child's early years, she only fed her takeout, leaving the little girl pale and undernourished. When Mrs. Lee abandoned him, he raised the girl alone. Later, when he came to ask for reconciliation, she humiliated him on camera, saying, "Take your daughter and get out of my life." Now, suddenly, Mrs. Lee claimed to have changed her mind. I've thought it through, really. I'm willing to give Xingxing a better life. I want to work hard, I want to fight for her, she said. Mr. Wang, incredulous, reminded her, when we divorced, why didn't you want custody? I came to you, I said our daughter couldn't grow up without her mother. She was only 2 years old. I asked you to remarry, and what did you say? You told me to disappear, to go as far away as possible. It had been a year since the divorce. And now, out of nowhere, she appeared demanding custody of the child. He couldn't understand where she found the nerve. After all, since the separation, she had never called, never visited, never asked about their daughter. The truth was different. Mrs. Lee had found out that her ex-husband was about to remarry, and worse, to a woman younger and more beautiful than her. Driven by jealousy and resentment, she decided to interfere. And who was this new woman? At work, I met someone, explained Mr. Wang. She's Xingxing's kindergarten teacher. Since I'm always busy, I used to arrive late to pick up my daughter, and we gradually got closer. Mrs. Lee immediately exploded. Lies. You two started before the divorce. It's impossible for you to be together this fast. You were already having an affair. Do you have proof? Asked the host. I don't have proof, but I know him. I know how he is, she replied angrily. And what do you think he gains from being involved with a kindergarten teacher? The host pressed. I don't know. I really don't understand what goes through men's heads. I just don't get what kind of women they like, she shouted. In Mrs. Lee's mind, Mr. Wang and the teacher had already started a secret relationship before the divorce. And when the teacher was called onto the stage, the atmosphere became tense. Upon seeing her, Mrs. Lee completely lost control, started shouting, refused to continue filming, and stormed off in fury. I can't take this anymore. I can't keep doing this. How can you even stand there on that stage? I can't do this. The host tried to calm her down. Please, calm down, don't get agitated. But she kept shouting, saying she was being humiliated in front of everyone. The scene shocked the audience. And one question remained. Was the kindergarten teacher really the other woman in this story? Or was it all just Mrs. Lee's jealousy and regret? The case went viral, and the producers promised to reveal more details in the next episode.
In the end, this story is less about love and more about pride, vanity, and late regret. A marriage that began with promises of comfort ended in a war of egos where no one wanted to yield, but everyone wanted to be right. She, the city princess, believed that marrying a hard-working man would be a social upgrade. He, the country boy, believed that love could bridge the gap between two completely different worlds. At first, it looked like a modern fairy tale. He worked day and night, and she only had to exist by his side. But like every poorly told fairy tale, the spell broke early. When the money ran out, the glamour faded, and reality came knocking. It became clear who was truly willing to carry the weight of the family and who only knew how to play mahjong and blame everyone else. The irony is that while she dreamed of living as a lady of the city, the one who actually built a real life was the country bumpkin she used to despise. The same man she rejected, humiliated, and told to disappear as far as possible is now the man she's trying to win back on national television, using their own daughter as an excuse to hide what she truly feels. Envy, wounded pride, and fear of being replaced. Because deep down, it's not love she wants, it's the spotlight back. The attention, the control, the feeling of still being important. Seeing her ex-husband happy with another woman younger, calmer, and, worst of all, prettier, was the spark that set the whole drama ablaze. Suddenly, the mother who never cared about her daughter has now rediscovered maternal love. Convenient timing, isn't it? It seems nostalgia only appears when the other person starts smiling again. Meanwhile, Mr. Wang, after years of being treated like a servant in his own home, finally finds some peace, ironically, in the arms of his daughter's teacher. And of course, for someone who lives for appearances, nothing is more unbearable than seeing the wrong man build the right life. Her anger isn't about the child or the lost love, it's about losing control of the story. That's when this stops being just about a couple and becomes a mirror of so many others. Marriages built on status, relationships driven by ego, people who confuse love with possession, and exes who come back not because they've changed, but because they can't stand seeing the other move on. Maybe the lesson is simple, but no one wants to hear it. Those who treat love like a contract end up in debt in the end. Life has a cruelly fair way of balancing things. Mrs. Lee, who once thought she was too good for that simple man, now begs for a piece of what she once despised. And Mr. Wang, who once felt too small for her, is now the one who inspires pity or envy, depending on how you look at it. In the end, they both became the reflection of what they most tried to deny. She, empty of purpose. He, tired but free. And of course, the audience loves to watch this kind of everyday tragedy because deep down, their story is just an exaggerated version of what many live in silence. Marriages of convenience, love that slowly rots, and people who only realize someone's value once it's gone for good. So, what do you think? Does Mrs. Lee deserve a second chance, or was Mr. Wang right to move on? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I want to know whose side you're on. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. See you in the next video.